Maestro? Fuck you. Fuck you. Don't worry. Yeah. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Thank you.
Yeah, so that was for those who need to play a symphony for somebody else. Yahsinni gives you this as a gift. Why even talk to them and listen to their low ass, vibrating frequency ass, no thinking, small mind ass motherfuckers? Why should you spend all day cussing people out when you can just send them a symphony? Yeah, you can send them the link. I'm going to leave the link in the description box. This is Millie Jackson, and it's called A Fuck You Symphony. And I got straight to the point. There's longer versions of it, but this is all you need. Send this to them people instead of wasting your breath, your energy, your oxygen, your dignity. Yeah, send them a symphony. I did. And for those of you who get offended by this symphony, then this was for you. For those of you who see the value in this gift that I give you, this symphony already made, already explaining your expression, then hello. And I know there's some people in Yahsinni land who need this song to send to somebody or play in front of somebody or maybe just listen to on their own and get rid of the negative energy as you expel expletives via somebody else who is a master at it. Why should I say fuck you when I could play you a symphony? Yeah, so. Well, all right, Yahsinni is in the house. And I hated to drop that bomb on you in the form of a symphony, but I figured some people need this because I know there was a time in my life, like 20 years ago when I was on the job, and I had this Karen, or I wish a Karen would, as Bia, fucking with me on the job. And so I'm not the type to be fucked with ever. And so I let her know. I handed her a CD. And I said, here you go, Michelle. Karen. And the next day at work, she was like, oh, I loved it. I loved it. And from then on, we were friends. Point being, I had to play her a symphony. And sometimes you don't want to waste your breath and have a fight with Karen, have the police called on you, or all of that shit. So my ancestors guided me to the right thing to do. Like, yeah, give her the symphony. So I did that, and I thought some of you would like that. And I digress. And let's move on. I'm going to be reading to you from the Phoenix Journal. I'm going to leave the link in the description box, although, whatever. I don't want to waste any more time because I want to get as much of this reading in as I can. So, prayer and misconception. Almost every prayer which carries with it a request also carry with it the inference that God is overlooking something in the management of his universe and needs a reminder that things are not running smoothly enough to suit the petitioner. Also, they carry the inference that requests are asked as personal favors from reverent and devout believers who believe that such favors will be granted if enough devout and reverent people join the weight of their petitions together to be heard by God and his interest in their personal request is sufficiently aroused. Yeah, God is not hard of hearing, and he is right there within. So what are you actually doing? Such prayers carry an inference of intercession in someone's interest, as though intercession is necessary with God or would have any effect whatsoever upon him. They also carry an inference that God is a personal being, like a king on a throne, to whom petitions are submitted and favors asked upon a personal basis. To those we say that God does his part always and needs no reminder. His part of creation is perfect. His law is perfect. His law always works. You need not ask God to make his law of gravitation work. Neither will he set it aside if you ask him to do so. If you fall off a cliff, the law of gravitation will cause your death, whether you are a saint or a sinner, and no prayer will set that aside. God will tell you not to fall. He has told you that in your very seed, but you disobey, you will perish just like anyone else. Can God override those laws? Yes. Would he? No. Not very often. But he might well override some of your antics, and in those cases, they would appear to be miracles. Yeah. So God's whole universe is in perfect balance. He keeps it so. You may depend upon it always. If you want good crops, God's law is there to give them to you if you work with his law. But if you ask God to do your part of the work as well as his, you will harvest nothing, no matter how great your faith is. Or your belied system. I added that in. A farmer does not ask God to cure a potato blight. He searches for the cause of it, which may be his own lack of knowledge of the particular soil. When, however, a blight strikes men's own bodies, they vigorously condemn anyone who suggests that they do what the farmer does, who works knowingly with God, doing his part of the work together with God's part of it. Yeah. So, what was the cause of the potato blight? Was it too much moisture? What was the cause of the human body blight? Was it tight lacing generations ago? Wrong diet? Unbalanced emotional disturbances? Frustrations? Infection from a rusty nail? Distorted seed pattern of ancestors' unbalanced actions? No matter what the cause of any disintegrating, depolarizing effect, the remedy for it is to restore balance. The restoration of balance in any machine can be accomplished through action. It is just as reasonable for one to expect God to repair his typewriter because of his faith and belief as it is to expect him to repair a human machine which man has damaged. So the restoration of balance through any mental unbalanced condition is purely mental. A change of thought from negative to positive will cure any mental ailment. Oh, I'm going to read that again. A change of thought from negative to positive will cure any mental ailment. A physically unbalanced body condition requires a physical action to restore its balance, and this can actually only be truly accomplished through first balancing the mind. Well, I promise you, the universe is mental. Mind healing has no relation to faith and belief in actuality. It is purely cause and effect, working in accordance with God's established law. It is desire for a right condition followed by intelligent action to restore that condition. Purely physical abnormalities, whether a broken bone, a cancer, a cut upon the head, a gunshot wound, paralysis from blood clots on the brain, misshapen bodies, or other deformities, can be cured only by physical action. One might just as well ask God in all faith and belief to mend a broken spoke in an automobile wheel as to ask him to cure a deformed foot without intelligent action. Won't he do it? Yes. However, it would be your foot and it is malformed. Why would he override your input? If you wish it healed, if in fact you perceive it in need of healing, you would do it yourself through the proper physical attention, although the physical action may very well be totally mental in projection. For instance, if one has indigestions from drinking martinis, would it not be wise to stop the martinis? I'm going through this shit right now. I promise you there's something like similar to what's being said right now going on in my health. Okay. If you have so little care as to healing of self, then it is assumed that the misery is enjoyed for some unrecognized reason, and when the person is ready to release the illness, he will do so. And like I said, I'm releasing the illness right now. Slowly, but surely. Do I even want to go into cause and effect? Yeah, sure. So, creation is a play of cause and effect. The cause is undivided. Cause is always unbalanced. It is always one. Effect is divided. Instead of one balanced condition, it is a division into two unbalanced conditions. Yeah. So the play of life is to keep the two unbalanced conditions of effect in balance with each other. When cause and effects are in balance with each other, the spiritual and physical manifestations of either, boom, man or nature manifest harmony, unity, growth, and normalcy in all parts. It is impossible to keep one's body in perfect balance always, okay? To say that God made man's body perfect as well as man does not mean that man can keep his body from being damaged. He must go to a dentist when his teeth wear out, or to an oculist when his eyes grow old, or put up with the inconveniences for the avoidance. Yeah. It is consistent for one to believe that God will set a broken bone and therefore refuse a surgeon's help, but will go to a dentist to have his teeth filled. God's law of cause and effect always works. Yeah. Yahsinni said. When anything goes wrong with you or with civilization, it is you who are at fault, not God. If men steal from each other for ages, they harvest hate and fear, which culminate in wars. The seeds of fear, hate, and greed will not yield harvests of love, prosperity, happiness, and peace. But you don't hear me though. Men pray to ask God to protect them from their enemies instead of praying to ask God to so enlighten them that men can practice the love principle in their human relations and thereby not make enemies. As long as man continues to violate God's law, he will hurt himself. all the faith and belief or belief in the world would not alter the effect of any cause whatsoever. Try it. Try putting your finger on a red hot stove while praying reverently with full faith and belief that God would cancel the law as a favor to you, and see what happens. Yeah, your finger will burn. Can you override that result? Yes, but it requires preparation of the body responses and direct effect of orders from the mind to make those changes. I see almost none who can successfully do this. To walk across a bed of coals, say, it's not proving much of anything, but it's fooling the people around you as well as yourself. If mentally prepared properly, the mind can cause the body to react in directed conditioning, but this takes a lot of attention and work. Therefore, we again say to you that when you ask God for anything, never ask Him to fulfill His part, for He's already done that. But ask Him rather to show you what you should do to fulfill your portion. Yeah, everything that is wrong with you is of your own making. Therefore, ask that you be enlightened. Perhaps it would be as simple as putting an asbestos fingers mitten on before touching the hot stove. The answer will always be quite simple and always most reasonable. Let us say, for example, you want a roof for your church, or perhaps, as with Little Crow, the gathering office needs paint, and your people pray in full faith and belief that God will give it to you, and you then rely solely upon your prayer. Your church will not get a roof, and the walls will not be covered with new paint. If, however, you ask God to give you knowledge to guide your actions in giving service for re-giving of money for the roof and or the paint, and to have someone splash the paint on the walls, your knowledge will find a way to accomplish both. In Little Crow's instance, he simply asks his gathering for contribution. If that does not do it, then he will have to decide how badly he needs new paint and leave it alone or do it himself. Do you get the point? This is the law, and you will as surely have your desire fulfilled as the farmer's desire is fulfilled when he does his part by tilling the soil and planting the seed. That is why I meant by the prayers of men who tell God what they wish Him to do instead of asking God to tell them what they should do. Yeah, how many times do you think of something only to put it aside and later say, I thought of that but didn't do it? You have to listen when God tells you, for it will always be through idea. This is the great misconception of the power of prayer. The cause of that misconception lies in the fact that people who ask God for fulfillment of their desires forget that requests for material things are created only through two-way action. Yeah, material things are not created by rubbing in a Aladdin lamp or through wishful thinking. They are created through balanced action and reaction. Yeah. So, let us put a hard example on this. Say now that certain guns and rifles need registration, and you have one but have not registered it. Okay? It lays atop the gun case, right? Now you can pray until you drop dead to have God remove that gun and place it in security, and you are going to become arrested at some point for having a gun. Yeah, you know what to do with that weapon, and if you want something done with it, you better get at it. God will allow you to be incarcerated if that is the penalty, to allow you to know the difference. He will warn you in time if you have asked for guidance, but you will do it. This is a good lesson for today, for many of you are going to be caught in this plight as gun controls come down on your nation. If you are one with one of these banned guns, here's your warning. Get it tended. Go within and ask for guidance as to what to do, and listen for the answer. Then act. If you don't want to get rid of the equipment, then you had better tend of it some way. Surprise search and seizures are going to begin at any moment. Therefore, if you are nagged by malcontent over the tending of it, don't tease and quip about it. Tend it. When a mechanic fixes your broken car through knowledge of its workings, or a surgeon fixes your broken body through knowledge of its workings, those operations are as much mind healing as the elimination of toxic poisons from your body by thoughts of love is a mind healer. All creations are mind creations. And now this is Yahsinni putting her 2 cents in. I promise you, the first universal law of nature is the universe is mental. I don't give a damn whether you get into Harmony Strikes Majestus or not. The fucking universe is mental. That was my 2 cents. And now I move back into all mind creations have bodies formed in the images of mind thoughts. I already told you about this. All bodies are created perfect by conformity with law and made ill by breach of law at some point in your life stream. Yes. So, what man forgets when he prays? When man fervently asks God to fulfill desires, he forgets that he is asking God to do what he himself should do. God's part has already been done. Man asks God to stop wars, forgetting that wars are man-made, not God-made. They are a breach of God's law. Wars are effects of disunity, greed, and selfishness of man. Man has free will to manifest the spirit in him or his senses as he wills. It is all a part of the play of cause and effect. The play must go on until man learns by experience that he must someday manifest the love principle upon which the universe is founded. Yes, so I don't want to stop here. But I'm going to need some encouragement, okay? Because this shit can go on forever. Or I promise you, it can. And doing what I'm doing now, it's not feasible, not even to me. So I'm going to go a little bit further. For those of you who have been paying attention and have ears to hear, I'm gonna do this. Faith will not do your work. Listen, faith will not do your work. You know why? Because faith without works is dead. Yeah, I added that. Now back to the subject at hand. Sorry about this, but you know that the fulfillment of any desire whatsoever comes only through intelligent action. You guide your car through busy streets by intelligent action, not by faith or belief, unsupported by knowledge or the right actions which are necessary to take. Yeah, so faith and belief are wonderfully consoling for a wishful thinker who is willing to believe in miraculous happiness or who is quite ready to evade effort on his part. But it should be erased from the lexicon of those who desire to achieve or to acquire anything. This is why those who tout that it is time to just be are lying to you and themselves for just being entails that someone do it for them. That which are considered needs. Yeah. If all in the same group are just being and sitting on their duffs wishing, not a thing will get done except you will get hungry and have to go to the bathroom. Yeah. So God creates what he knows by thinking it into divided forms. Man should do likewise, but he must first know that which he desires to think into form. Yeah. You may have faith, belief, and also hope in regard to others, but not in God. Yeah. You must know that God will give you your desire if you work with him to fulfill it, but not otherwise. Others may have to justify your faith and belief in them, but God should never have to prove himself to you. Yeah, who the hell fuck do you think you are? I added that. Yeah, so if you ask a builder to build a house for you, you know that he can do it, and also he knows that he can do it, or you would choose another builder. If he answered your inquiry as to whether he can build a house for you by saying, I sure hope I can, or, well, I have faith and belief that I probably can, your own faith in him will be tinged with deep doubts, for your very belief in him is founded on confidence in his knowledge, or you wouldn't have contacted him in the first place. Yeah, so you must have confidence in yourself based upon your knowledge. Know the ledge. For knowledge is your power, not faith, belief, or hope. Those are but the stepping stones to come into knowing through action. I would have wrote this myself. Therefore I say unto you, whenever you desire to do anything for which you do not feel yourself equipped, do not start doing it with doubt in your mind or with blind faith that God will do it for you. For you must not begin that way. No, stop. Rather, and talk with God. Seek him, know him, be him. Oh, how does that fucking work? Yeah. In deep meditation, communion. That's how it fucking works. Seek knowledge through inspiration. That is the only way to build omnipotence into your desire. Never start anything without inspired knowledge, which puts love into your givings. For that which is called work should be only joyous giving. Yeah, or I promise you. Your weakness lies in asking God to fulfill your desire instead of asking Him to give you the knowledge to work with Him in the fulfilling of your desire. Yeah, you render yourself weak in so asking, and you double your weakness by the very thought of having faith in God. You must have knowing in God. Somehow, by just having faith in God implies a doubt of the certainty of His promise and places God on His honor to grant you your request. Well, yeah, who the hell fuck are you? I added that. He already granted you your request through His grace. All you have to do is accept the gift and receive by achievement. You must learn to approach any achievement with an attitude of certainty, for when you have instilled the certainty of the goal accomplished, the God within, oh, all of us, not just Jesus, you will provide the how in the form of inspired idea. You add the action. Don't approach God or yourself in an attitude of begging, supplication. You are not asking benevolence, nor is God dealing out patronage. God is creator, and you are co-creator, not a supplicant of favors. So stop it with all that begging. You must put aside your idea of separateness and find your universality until you know your attachment with the universe. You are but one part of it. As long as you feel yourself to be a separate individual person with no attachment, you would think of God as totally separate and apart from yourself. Until you can think of yourself as the person or the universal self, God would be another being whom you may revere or worship or ask favors from or depend on it in the measure of your knowledge of God. To have faith or belief in God implies separateness. It implies that God is another of whom you cannot say, I and my Father are one. That is why much deep communion with God is the most important thing in your life, for the more you lose yourself in the universal self, the more you think of God and yourself as being of oneness. When you plant corn, you do it with knowledge born of experience that the corn will grow and fill your granaries. It does not grow because you have faith and belief that it will grow. It grows because of the perfect workings of God's laws. Likewise, you put the seed in the ground by intelligent action. First, making sure you begin with corn seeds. You do not sit in the house and pray to God with faith and belief that He would plant it for you, for you know that He will not. God will work with you, but not for you. And all of the faith and belief in the world will not give you a crop without your doing your part with God in the fulfillment of your desire. Yeah, I promise you, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going no farther. That was page 178. So I will leave the link in the description box. And if you want to go back and take a look at some of this shiznit, well, I advise that you do. Yahsinni is not here wasting her breath and throwing out oxygen for the hell of it. That was my octaves limit. And with that being said, and with that being read, I hope your ass is fed. And I am here for going to bed. Yeah, so.